Hello, it's Debbie Gilbert from the Business Awards show, and I'm also the owner of the Best Business Women Awards. And today I'm joined by Kath Reynolds, owner and founder of Balance Recruitment. They're a recruitment agency that specialise in accountancy and finance systems recruitment for law firms. And Kath was the gold winner of Best Businesswoman in Recruitment 2022 in the Best Business Women Awards, but has also won 17 other awards, some of them for her team in her company, some of them for the company, some of them for Kath. So I'm delighted she's joining us today because she's got 15 years of business experience and lots of experience of awards. So welcome, Kath.
Hi, Debbie. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for joining us. So tell us about Balance. Tell us how it all started and tell us a bit more about the business.
So we have been going for almost 15 years, but back in the day, I'm from a finance background and I'd always wanted just to set up my own business. Probably got that from my dad. He ran his own successful business for about 30 years. And I just didn't know what to do. And I was thinking, although finance is what I do, I didn't really just want to start up a finance company or do people's accounts. And, got my first job in recruitment in 2000 and absolutely loved it because I could do my numbers, but you can't get more people than recruitment. And that's my thing. I'm a very people person, but I do numbers. I'm a bit of an odd one when it comes to that. I've worked for various recruitment firms, actually, and all of them have always asked me to be a consultant. Like, no, I'm happy doing the numbers. I just like talking to people as well. So then I thought, well, that's what I want to do. I've got to find consultants, recruiters who appreciate the value of a non-recruiter at startup. And that's very difficult to find, to be honest, because if you're a revenue generator, it's very hard to see the value in someone who isn't generating revenue, especially at startup. However, I did find two consultants that I was working with at the time, and it was 2 years of planning. And we'd meet sort of every month or so and put our business plan together. And we did a why me scenario to make sure that personally we were going to see it through. And then, we set up. It was May 2008. And 2 weeks later, the headlines read, global recession. And I thought, this is not planned for this. When they say put your threats down on the business plan, or that was not one that any of us had considered. So that was a financial crisis. So then we had two choices. We either went, oh, that was a bad mistake, let's go back to our previous lives, or let's try and trade through this. So my first ever business in the financial crisis, and we somehow saw it through to the other end.
Amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah, and then we thought, well, we've done that. We've done the toughest time ever. We're never going to see anything like that again. And then March 2020.
No.
And we went, ooh, another challenge.
How did the pandemic affect your business?
I literally stopped it. So we had... I think at the time, in beginning of March, we had about 35 live jobs we were working on. And within 6 weeks, that turned to 5. And then 2 weeks later, we had none for 6 months.
Wow.
So we had 0 revenue for 6 months. And obviously, all our fixed costs were still there. So we had to take advantage of, obviously, the furlough scheme. But, it was something I'm sure a lot of small business owners would not want to go through again. And now we're back to a very small team again that we're trying to now. This year's been, touch wood, a very good year for us, and we're now rebuilding again. So
that's amazing. So over the 15 years you've been trading, what's been the thought process behind Business Awards?
All right. So of course that first year or two of trading, we didn't obviously consider awards. And then I considered our first real year, 2010. Mm-hmm. And having traded then a proper year where you can, compare it then to future trading years, we submitted 2011 was our first, and it was the Recruiter Awards for Best Permanent Consultant for one of my directors, one of my co-founders, and we were a finalist. And then obviously it's a big thing. If you've never entered an award before, you don't actually know how to go about it. But we just sort of thought we'd give it a best shot, and we had lots to talk about. And then each year we thought, well, we'll re-enter, and we did different categories, so mainly recruitment body awards, or and it could have been on specific consultants, or it was on the company as a whole, the Small Business Award, or a specific marketing campaign. We did twice. And then we'd look at awards we could enter non-recruiters into, i.e. me, so Best Businesswoman. And I had an employee, we entered my marketing exec into the Federation of Small Business Awards, and she won Employee of the Year that year. So we know we're doing something right, that we keep getting recognised across various bodies for different for different performance, either individual or company. So
I'm assuming as a recruitment agency, you have to pitch for clients. So do you find that the awards can strengthen that pitch?
Absolutely. However, because we're such a niche market, and we've been in this space now for 15 years, I'm pleased and delighted to say that we're sort of the go-to firm in our space in legal accounts. Now, how we've managed to do that is purely reputation building. Yeah. So, of course, these awards just reinstate that. We've worked out, I think it's about last year, it's 77% of our business is repeat business. Oh. So, and a lot of our candidates now are referrals instead of job boards or whatever. So because our candidates and clients now merge into one, really, a lot of our candidates are now clients. I mean, we just call them our business partners, really, going. So it does help. We always want new business. So for our new business development, if you can show people that over 15 years, you've got 17 accolades, and they vary from best, recruitment consultant to best small business recruitment to, marketing campaign, getting out there. And for me, a non-recruiter, best businesswoman, and show that I've run my business well. So, yeah, it paints a very good picture for us, and it's all true. They're very strong accolades, really. And, it does really help with the new business pitching, and also, obviously, the knowing who we've worked with. We've worked with the top 50, 100 UK and US law firms. That obviously supports. They work with us. They've seen our awards. Why don't you give us a try? So, yeah. And the fact we've actually traded through, since 2008, and we're still here, that says something to it. And they like the smaller firms, Debbie. They like Richard, who's my business partner, he's been in this space for now 20 years. All he's ever done is legal finance in London. So he's got very personal relationships with most of our clients and several of our candidates, and he's replaced candidates 3 or 4 times throughout their career. So we've got history with these people, very strong relationships, and that's what that's what Balance is about, really.
Where did the name come from, Balance Recruitment?
Me. No, I had to sell it to my business partners at the time. I came up with all these different ones, and then I said balance because there were 3 reasons behind balance. Balance is in balance sheet, finance. Mm-hmm. Balance is in, and initially it was 2 recruiters and me, and they were 2 men, 1 woman, 2 revenue generated. So there was a different balance to our leadership. And balance, hybrid, so work-life. And that is listed in my business plan from 2006. So this is not a new concept, this hybrid working. I mean, we were an ambassador for it from inception. I find it quite difficult that a lot of people are saying there's a new world. A lot of companies have been hybrid for years. It's just flexible working in my book.
So were you already doing hybrid working before the pandemic?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah. And I went to a recruitment leader meeting, a networking event. It's about 4 years ago now, pre-COVID. And we were talking about what we do. And I said, we have flexible working and all that a staff member just had to text us in the morning and say, got childcare issues, or dishwasher's broken, got the plumber coming out. Absolutely fine, log on. Why on earth would you drag them into the office and say, ruin your day, B, your life, because then you've got to have a late night appointment, or you've got to pay for extra childcare or whatever. And the majority of the people around me, and they're all business owners of recruitment firms, were stunned. They went, oh, no, we allow staff to work from home, but they have to give us 2 days notice. So, well, that doesn't work. That's not flexible at all.
No.
I was quite surprised. So it'd be interesting to meet those same people now and see what they've adopted. But yeah,
it's funny. And quite passionate about CSR with your business as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that.
Well, we've always maintained that we're socially corporate, and we've always invested in our time and in charities from day dot. We're fully aware of our footprint. At the moment, we were only a very small team of 3, so it's hard to invest sort of too much time in focusing on that element of the business. But we believe in it strongly, and going forward, we're looking at ways we can do this more and become more a part of the community. I'm currently mentoring, which we consider a great thing. We want to invest in the youth of today and try and assist with them finding employment. But this is all very tough at the moment, Debbie. Obviously, it's with coming out of COVID, and then now, we're possibly looking into a new recession. So it's hard to invest too much time.
Exactly.
You've got to keep track of the business as a business to employ people, to get the labour market going, so that we can invest more time into corporate social responsibility.
Are you finding that employers are cutting back on recruitment again at the moment?
We found it's leveled off. But saying that, it's November. So that's not unusual. We normally have another 3 or 4 weeks of live jobs seeing to fruition. There have been a couple that they've now said we're holding till next year. Law firms, most of their end of financial is end of March, which is understandable then, because new budgets, new headcounts, whatever. It rings a few little alarm bells if they can wait a couple more months. But I think just with the uncertainty, coming from the top, kind of the government can't stay the same for a matter of 3 weeks at the moment. So with the U-turns and whatever, people are saying, oh, well, NI and this and that's our total payroll budget for the year, and then that gets U-turned and whatever. And when you're talking, hundreds or thousands of employees, it's big news to say this is our budget for new heads or not. And also law firms, and obviously they're 100% of my client base, so they are very risk averse. And although solicitors normally aren't, law firms in general normally do very well in any climate, but they wait to see a bit more certainty in outcomes. And and once one holds off for a while, others follow. That's the other thing with being in such a niche market. So it can be very good because of reputation and go-to, and this is the firm that recruits for us, and but again, if one stops and they all just decide to do the same thing, then niche doesn't work so well.
No, but I think that's been a good strategy for you, because in the sea of recruitment firms, and there are, it's a huge industry, to actually have made that decision to be very specific about what roles you're going to recruit for and what industry you're going to recruit for.
Yeah.
Probably has been a very sensible decision for you.
It's seen us through. That's still, yeah.
And so over the last 15 years, you've already gone through one recession, a pandemic. We're now potentially heading into another recession. So the kinds of people that listen to our podcast are a mixed range of business owners. So they could be struggling themselves at the moment. So what sort of advice would you be giving to any type of business to kind of see them through the trickier times?
Well, this is what I've worked out, how we've traded through those, I would call it the 4 worst years over the last 15, is keep your head low but your standards high.
Well,
and that is literally what we've done. And only really because head low, definitely. When I prepared the business plan initially, I was probably the most conservative budgeter ever. And thank goodness that we worked out what we just needed to get through. If you can just get through, keep your head low. But standards high. Don't drop your standard on what you want your business to look like when it is good or when things do turn. We saw a lot of business, it's a panic and it's a knee-jerk reaction. Oh my God, we'll have to do this, or we'll just offer our services at this. Well, that's completely removing what you've worked towards and setting up the standard and the quality of service you want to provide. Now, if that goes, I don't want to trade through. We've set up Balance to be a quality business that provides top quality service, and you can't do that temporarily, reduce that, and then think you can come out the other side and say, oh no, sorry, we're back to being the top quality service. It's hard because you have to say no to a lot of things that come your way. People were preying on small businesses going under and to take offers or deals, or be it financing deals or dropping your rates to a certain, to compete with the big boys. And well, why? We're still the same people doing the same job in a much tougher environment. So it is tough to do that, but you just sort of got to think, no, what do I want in the long term, and just feel that you are going to get through it.
What's your plan for 2023? Where's Balance going?
Right. So 2022 was, thankfully, we're looking at back to pre-COVID levels again.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So touch wood. I'm still, obviously, we're never going to be confident in flying or whatever, but 2023, as long as we can maintain the levels of this year, that is, we can ride through whatever, if this new economic climate's going to look like for the next 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. I believe, even if it does dip, we've been through tougher. So, I'm getting prepared. But yeah, the fact we're on the other side and we're looking to grow, new heads on board. Obviously, this whole hybrid working, although we've always been flexible, it will look different. The horizon will look different. Whether we do office environment or hot desking a couple of times a month, and that whole thing, it's a new platform that we're going to be on and working on. 15 years, it's time for me to change it up anyway, and get new concepts. Things don't have to be how they were. But yeah, just continue as we are, but look at new ideas and new options, and potentially, as I said, I'm mentoring now. Richard might go into more sort of a consultancy, more for candidates and clients, more career fulfillment type of role. So personally expanding ourselves, which will only benefit Balance, and then getting on more recruiters to continue doing what Balance has always done.
Fantastic. And into more awards next year?
Oh, definitely. I'm very excited already about next year. So we will be entering, and I will be re-entering yours.
And it keeps your profile out there, doesn't it? Fundamentally.
It does. And you know what, Debbie, I have to say, it was so important to me, like this one this year, because when I met with a couple of women who were there the year before. So we had already said to each other, it'd be great to see you again next year. And it just reignites your passion. Regardless of, who wins award, just being with similar women who've been through what you've been through, and it builds your confidence again that actually we're all doing it. We can do it. It really, yeah, I really felt that it, reignited a lot of fire for Balance. Yeah.
It felt a big celebration this year. I think last year, though it was a great celebration because people hadn't been out and we'd had to deliver our awards online on 2020 awards. But this year it somehow felt, I don't know, it just felt a much greater celebration. I don't know whether it's because we've kind of been through the pandemic now. I think last year there was an air of uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I actually think what women do really well is power through the problems. Right. And like you, I've had my business, 25 years next year, and went through that 2007, 2008 recession. And, you know, obviously the pandemic affected my business as well. And I'm feeling a little bit, I mean, I would say slightly nervous, but quietly optimistic that we can get through the next year to 18 months, because I think it's going to be a short-lived situation. I think once we get a stable government behind us, we can look at some sort of stability in the economy.
Yes.
So women do power through these challenges really well. I think that's what I've seen over the last few years. And since we started the awards, looking at all the stories that have come through, and I mean, you know, you're an incredibly inspirational woman who has seen your business through so many challenges. So it's been great to listen to what you've got to share today, because I think you will inspire other women just to keep going, because that's the key.
Thanks, Debbie. It is. It just keep going. Keep going. You can do it, basically. You can do it. Just tell yourself every morning, I've got this.
And I think
get up and you do it.
Getting the right support around you. You've clearly got a good team.
Yeah.
I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is having a business partner who shares exactly the same values and ethos for the business as well. Awesome. And actually, we've just held hands and ridden through it the last couple of years. So, yeah, that's vital.
Exactly. And if you haven't got a business partner, find a tribe, find people that can support you.
Absolutely. And as I said, these women at the awards ceremony, they're brilliant. And they are friends now for life. Yeah, we're still in contact and we just support each other. It's really good.
That's lovely. That's nice to hear that you made that connection at the awards.
Yeah, definitely.
You've got that ongoing, which is great. And we love to see that. Somebody posted the other day that they'd met at the awards, and 3 years later they're still, you know, good friends, and they support each other. And I think that's the thing sometimes people forget about business awards, that it's not always a good idea to have a whole table. Sometimes it's good to on your own or with 2 or 3 people, and then
you can chat to the
I think you know, I mean, I'm an awards organizer, but I actually don't think it's always a good idea to have a whole table. I think go low and mix with others. That's my opinion.
In fact, Debbie, my current accountant was at my table, I think in 2017, but we didn't actually realise at the time. But now we talk about it, and she's actually given me recommendations for my award entry.
Fantastic.
I know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's been absolutely great to talk to you today and to hear about all the future plans for Balance and about all the challenges that you've overcome, which are incredible. So thank you for joining me today, Kath.
For having me.
That's okay. We will make sure Kath's details are in our show notes and in the comments on the YouTube video. So thank you. And we look forward to watching you win more awards. So thank you, Kath.
Thanks, Debbie. See you soon.
Thank you.